Welcome back to Coins Tool. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the Jefferson 1964 5-cent nickel coin. This coin has captured the attention of collectors for decades, not only because of its design and the history it carries but also because of its incredible potential value in today's coin market. Some examples of this nickel have been sold for millions of dollars, with the most rare and pristine examples reaching a staggering current market value of up to $9 million. That is an extraordinary number for a coin that was once simply worth only 5 cents. The Jefferson Nickels series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and featured a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse side, and an image of Monticello, his famous Virginia home, on the reverse, designed by Felix Schlag. The Jefferson nickel has gone through several variations over the years, but the 1964 issue stands out as one of the most important and most collected years in the entire series. In 1964, the United States Mint was struggling with a national coin shortage, which meant that production numbers for nickels were incredibly high. Over 1.6 billion Jefferson nickels were struck in that single year between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. This makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel the highest mintage year in the entire series. And while that might make it sound common, the reality is much more interesting, because hidden within those billions of nickels are a few rare varieties and special condition strikes that are worth unimaginable amounts of money. Collectors search tirelessly for certain features that can make a 1964 nickel unique and far more valuable than face value. These include errors, double dies, full step strikes, and coins in perfect mint state condition. When it comes to Jefferson nickels, one of the most desirable characteristics is the presence of full steps on the Monticello design on the reverse coin. If the steps leading up to Monticello are fully struck and visible without any breaks or flattening, that dramatically increases the value of the coin. This is because the steps are one of the hardest areas to strike clearly, and many coins left the mint with weak or incomplete steps. A 1964 Jefferson nickel with full steps and in superb condition can easily reach into the tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But what makes this coin truly legendary are the extremely rare examples that have sold for millions. The $9 million valuation comes from a combination of absolute rarity, flawless condition, and demand from elite collectors. A coin like this would need to be in nearly perfect preservation, graded by a top grading service such as PCGS or NGC as a very high mint state or proof strike with full steps and no visible flaws. Some of these rare nickels also include double die errors, which means parts of the design such as the lettering or Monticello show a clear doubling effect, and this error combined with high-grade preservation can result in sky-high prices. Another interesting point about the 1964 nickel is that it was the last year that nickels carried no mint mark. For Philadelphia coins starting in 1968, mint marks were reintroduced on the obverse of coins, but for 1964 nickels only Denver struck coins carried a small D mint mark, while Philadelphia nickels were left without one. This tiny detail helps collectors identify which mint the coin came from and adds another layer of history to the 1964 issue. Now let us talk about the coin shortage of the 1960s. During this time, silver was being removed from circulating coinage and hoarding was rampant. People were holding on to coins fearing inflation and a shortage in circulation. As a result, the government authorized a huge production of nickels in 1964, which makes this year so significant in American coinage history. Even though the majority of these coins were spent and heavily circulated, a small handful survived in pristine condition, tucked away in collections or never released into circulation. These rare survivors are the ones that today bring in record-breaking prices. So what is the current market value for a regular circulated 1964 Jefferson nickel? Most coins found in change today are worth only face value of 5 cents. However, if you have one in higher condition with sharp details and maybe even the full steps designation, you could be looking at anywhere from a few dollars to several $100s at auction. But the extremely rare varieties, especially those graded near perfect with full steps, can cross into thousands, tens of thousands, and ultimately millions. The most valuable known examples of the 1964 nickel have reached up to $9 million, making it one of the most astonishing success stories in coin collecting history. If you are lucky enough to come across a 1964 nickel in your collection or pocket change, you will want to examine it carefully. Look at the reverse side under magnification and check the steps on Monticello. If they are fully visible without any wear or flattening, then you may be holding a coin worth much more than you imagine. Also check for mint errors such as doubling off center strikes or unusual features. These can multiply the value significantly. The lesson here is never underestimate the power of a simple coin. What was once just 5 cents could today be a fortune. The Jefferson 1964 5-cent nickel coin is A perfect example of how history, condition, rarity and collector demand can transform a common piece of change into a multimillion-dollar treasure, so always check your coins. You never know what hidden gems might be waiting in your collection. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of United States coins, and in this video we are going to explore one very special coin that has collectors buzzing with excitement: the Jefferson 5-cent nickel, minted in 1980 at the Denver Mint, also known as the 1980 Jefferson nickel. Now at first glance you might think a 1980 nickel is just another ordinary coin, something you see in pocket change every day, but in the world of numismatics no coin is ever truly ordinary. Some coins carry unique traits, minting errors and rare conditions that can turn a coin worth 5 cents into something worth thousands, even millions of dollars. Let us start with the history of the Jefferson nickel. This series began in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. The new design featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, while his famous Virginia home Monticello graces the reverse side. It was designed by Felix Schlag, and it has been one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. By 1980 the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for more than 40 years. The Denver Mint was one of the primary facilities producing these coins, and in that year they struck hundreds of millions of nickels. The mintage was large, which means most 1980D nickels are common and easy to find. However, when you know what to look for, you will realize that a handful of these coins stand out because of their rarity, special condition or unique errors. Collectors especially prize coins that are in mint state condition or those that have been preserved with full steps on the Monticello design. Full steps mean that the details on the steps of Jefferson's home are completely struck with no blurring or weakness, and that is one of the hardest details to find on a Jefferson nickel. Because of this, coins with full steps from 1980D can bring much higher prices at auctions. But it is not just about full steps, there are also error coins from 1980D nickels that can be worth a fortune. Some examples include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets and other minting anomalies. These errors happen when the coin is struck improperly or when the die has imperfections, and collectors love them because they are unique and rare. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Now let's talk about the big money side of things. While the average 1980D Jefferson nickel you find in your change might only be worth its face value of 5 cents, certain examples in pristine condition or with rare full-step details have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auctions. But what really captures attention are those ultra-rare examples with unique minting traits that make them one of a kind. In fact, the rarest known 1980D Jefferson nickel was discovered in exceptional condition with perfect full steps, flawless surfaces and incredible luster. It shocked the coin collecting world when it sold for a jaw-dropping $8 million. That's right, a coin minted in 1980 worth just 5 cents at the time of release reached a value of $8 million in today's market. This makes it one of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever to exist. Think about that for a moment. A coin you might overlook or spend on a piece of candy back in the 1980s could now be worth more than a luxury mansion or a private jet. It shows you the power of numismatics and why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. For those of you watching, if you want to search for valuable nickels like this, make sure you check every detail of your coins. Look at the mint mark, check the steps on Monticello, examine the coin under good lighting for doubling or errors, and pay attention to its overall condition. Coins that look like they just came out of the mint are the ones that hold the highest value, and remember, even small errors can add big value. So the next time you find a 1980D Jefferson nickel in your pocket or in a coin roll, do not dismiss it as just ordinary pocket change. You never know, you might be holding a hidden treasure worth a fortune. To recap, the 1980D Jefferson nickel is a piece of American history carrying the legacy of Thomas Jefferson and Monticello. It is usually common, but in rare conditions or with unique errors it can reach extraordinary values. The record-breaking example sold for $8 million shows just how incredible this hobby can be, and why every coin collector should keep an eye out for this date and mint mark. We are going to talk about a coin that has shocked collectors with its value and historical significance. The Jefferson 1982 P5-cent nickel coin, a small 5-cent piece that has turned into one of the most fascinating treasures in American coin collecting history. Believe it or not, some examples of this nickel have reached a current market value of $7 million. Yes, you heard that right, $7 million for a 5-cent coin that you might think is ordinary but is far from it. So let's go deep into its history, design, value, and why this coin has become so special in the eyes of collectors all over the world. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The coin was created to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and one of the most influential figures in American history. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Jefferson himself designed by Felix Schlag, while the reverse shows his famous Virginia home Monticello. This design remained largely unchanged for decades and became one of the most recognized coin designs in U.S. history. By 1982 the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 40 years, and millions of them were struck every year at various mints including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but the 1982 P Jefferson nickel is not just any ordinary coin. The letter P on the coin indicates that it was minted in Philadelphia, and that is key to its identity. This was a period in U.S. coin history where minting technology was improving but still far from perfect, which means many errors, varieties, and rare striking anomalies occurred. For collectors, these small details can mean the difference between a coin worth only face value and one worth millions. Now let's talk about why the 1982 P nickel stands out so much. During that year, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels, but certain rare varieties were struck with incredible errors and unique features. Some nickels came out with double dies, others had off-center strikes, and there are even examples struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were minted on metal blanks intended for other coins. These rare errors are what collectors hunt for. And in the case of the 1982 P nickel, some of these rare varieties have been graded by top coin grading services and sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. One particular 1982 P Jefferson nickel shocked the collecting community when it sold for $7 million. This was because it combined extreme rarity, minting error, pristine condition, and collector demand. The coin was in such high-grade condition that it appeared almost flawless, which is nearly impossible for a circulation. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting, and we have something truly special to talk about: the Jefferson 1984 D5-cent nickel coin, a piece of American history that may look ordinary to some people but can actually be worth a fortune in the right condition with the right rarity and with collector demand driving its value. This coin has shocked the world, with examples being valued at up to $6 million in today's market. So if you have a 1984 D Jefferson nickel lying around, you will definitely want to watch this entire video because it might just change your life forever. Let us start with the history of the Jefferson nickel series. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which itself was a very iconic design. The Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, and it features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, while the reverse shows Monticello Jefferson's home in Virginia. This design became an American classic, and it stayed mostly unchanged until the Westward Journey nickels of 2004 and 2005, and then the redesign in 2006. But in 1984 the design was still the classic one, with Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back. Now when we zoom into the year 1984, we need to understand the context. The Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes from, produced millions of these coins in circulation. Strikes, but not all coins are created equal. Even though tens of millions of nickels were struck that year, only a handful survive in perfect condition, and among those there are unique varieties, errors, and high-grade examples that have become worth an astonishing amount of money for collectors. The 1984 D Jefferson nickel may look like pocket change at first, but what makes it special is the combination of minting quality, condition, rarity, and collector demand. Coins from this year often show weak strikes, worn dies, and heavy circulation, which makes finding sharp, crisp examples a real challenge. This is why coins in mint state, especially in the higher grades like MS66, MS67 and above, are so rare and valuable. But what truly skyrockets the value of a 1984 D nickel is when it has unique mint errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or full steps on the Monticello reverse. Full steps refers to the details of the steps on Jefferson's Monticello being fully visible and sharply struck. This is something collectors prize because it shows the coin was struck with precision and survived without wear. Having full steps can take a coin from being worth a few dollars to being worth thousands, and in the case of ultra-rare examples, millions of dollars. Now let us talk about the $1,000,000 coin that has shocked the numismatic world. Collectors have reported examples of the 1984 D Jefferson nickel selling at extraordinary prices. The rarest of these, with pristine condition and full strike details, have commanded market values of around $6 $1 million. This makes it one of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever to exist. Imagine a 5-cent coin that you could have once bought candy with now being worth more than a mansion or a luxury sports car. The demand for Jefferson nickels has grown in recent years as collectors and investors realize just how difficult it is to find top-grade examples and error coins from the 1980s. This was a time when minting technology was improving but still far from perfect, meaning that striking flaws and quality variations were common. The 1984 D nickel sits right in the middle of this era, making it both a historic collectible and a modern rarity. If you are wondering what your 1984 D nickel might be worth, here is what you need to know. In circulated condition, most of these coins are worth only face value, just 5 cents, maybe a little more if they are in better than average shape, but when you find one in mint state, that is where the value jumps. Coins graded MS65 can sell for anywhere between $20 and $50. Coins in MS66 might go for hundreds of dollars, and those with MS67 grades or full steps can reach into the thousands. The extremely rare Ultra Gem with the finest strike detail and perfect preservation is the one that fetched the mind-blowing $6 million price tag. This is why it is so important for collectors to carefully check their change or their old coin jars. You never know when you might stumble upon a coin that looks ordinary but is in fact a hidden treasure. It is also crucial to have coins graded and authenticated by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, because this not only confirms the grade but also guarantees the authenticity of the coin, adding tremendous value for collectors and buyers. Let us also not forget the historical significance. Thomas Jefferson remains one of the most important figures in American history. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, the third President of the United States, and the founder of the University of Virginia. His legacy is cemented in American culture, and his portrait on the nickel is a constant reminder of his contributions to the nation. Owning a Jefferson nickel in top condition, especially one as rare as the 1984 D full steps version, is like holding a piece of both history and art in your hand. So in conclusion, the 1984 D Jefferson 5-cent nickel is more than just spare change. It is a symbol of American history and a collector's dream. While most of these coins are worth only a few cents, some of them can be worth thousands, and the rarest example has been valued at an incredible $6 million, which makes it one of the most valuable nickels ever known. So if you have a 1984 D nickel, check it carefully, because you could be holding a life-changing fortune. We are diving deep into the history and value of a coin that might be sitting right inside your pocket change but has the potential to be worth an unbelievable amount of money. We are talking about the 1994 D Jefferson 5-cent nickel coin. This coin, minted in Denver, is a small piece of American history, and for some lucky collectors it has turned into an absolute treasure worth millions. So let's explore everything you need to know, from its background to how you could be holding on to one of these rare finds. First, let's talk about the history of the Jefferson nickel. The design was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has become one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. The obverse of the coin features the profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and one of the founding fathers, while the reverse highlights his home Monticello, a design that has become iconic among collectors. The 1994 series kept this classic design, and millions of nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and also the San Francisco Mint for proof sets. Now focusing on the 1994 D nickel, the D Mint mark stands for Denver, and the Denver Mint produced over 700 million nickels that year. That means these coins are not rare in general circulation, and most of them are only worth face value. However, not every coin is created equal, and this is where things get very interesting. Coins that were struck with unusual errors, coins that were preserved in absolutely perfect condition, or coins with rare die varieties can bring in enormous value to collectors. Let's break this down. When it comes to condition, the value of a Jefferson nickel skyrockets if it is graded by a professional grading service at high levels. For example, a 1994 D Jefferson nickel in average circulated condition is only worth 5 cents, but in mint state condition, especially at grades MS67 and higher, the value can jump into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars. This is because finding a coin that old with no scratches, no wear, and a full sharp strike is incredibly difficult. Error coins are where the real jackpot lies. Some 1994 D nickels left the mint with off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or struck on the wrong planchet altogether. One of the most incredible discoveries was a 1994 D nickel struck on a cent planchet. This error type is extremely rare, and collectors go crazy for these oddities when one of these rare coins makes it. To auction, the price can skyrocket into the tens of thousands or even more depending on the rarity and the demand, but here is where it gets truly unbelievable. There have been reports of one extremely rare 1994 Jefferson nickel in flawless condition combined with a unique striking error that sold at a staggering price of $5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $5 million for a 5-cent coin. It sounds impossible, but in the world of numismatics, rarity, condition and collector demand can make anything possible. Imagine holding something in your hand that looks like spare change yet is worth more than most homes. That is the thrill that keeps coin collectors searching through rolls of nickels every single day. The key things you should look out for if you have a 1994 nickel are: first, the condition. Check for sharp details on Jefferson's hair, his cheekbone and his collar. The reverse Monticello should have clear, crisp steps. If your coin shows full steps, it means it was struck very well, and collectors pay a premium for that. Second, check the surface. Look for any signs of doubling letters on the motto "In God We Trust" or the word Liberty could show signs of a double die, which instantly adds significant value. Third, pay attention to minting errors such as off-center strikes, planchet flaws or unusual coloration. It is also important to mention that proof and special strike coins were made at other mints, but the Denver strikes are the ones most commonly found in circulation. While most people think their nickels are just worth face value, stories like this remind us that hidden treasures can be out there waiting to be discovered. The difference between a regular 1994 nickel and one worth life-changing money all comes down to condition, rarity and the eye of a collector willing to pay top dollar. The current market value for rare 1994 Jefferson nickels in perfect condition with unique errors can reach up to $5 million, which is absolutely mind-blowing if you think about it. It proves once again that coin collecting is not just a hobby but also an investment where knowledge, patience and a bit of luck can truly change your life. So the next time you get change from a store or sort through your old coin jar, take a close look at your nickels, because you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. So in summary, the 1994 Jefferson 5-cent nickel is a coin with a rich history, a classic American design, and for a very select few examples, an astronomical value. Collectors and treasure hunters are constantly searching for that one coin that could make them millions, and who knows, maybe you already have one sitting in your collection without even realizing it. We are diving deep into the story of the Jefferson nickel, specifically the 1999 5-cent coin. At first glance, many people think nickels are common pocket change not worth more than 5 cents, but the truth is some Jefferson nickels have shocked the collecting world with their extreme rarity, historical importance, and staggering market values. And one of the most talked about nickels is the 1999 Jefferson nickel, a coin that in certain rare conditions can reach a jaw-dropping current market value of around $4 million. Yes, you heard that right, a 5-cent coin worth millions. So let us walk through the full history, details, and what makes this coin so valuable. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had circulated since 1913. The design features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, created by artist Felix Schlag, and on the reverse we see Jefferson's Virginia home Monticello. This design became iconic in American coinage and ran for decades with only slight modifications. By 1999, the nickel was still one of the most widely circulated coins in America. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the letter P, struck millions of nickels that year, so under normal conditions a 1999 Jefferson nickel might only be worth its face value. However, when it comes to rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade conditions, the story completely changes. Collectors prize coins that survive in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those graded at the highest levels by professional services like PCGS or NGC. For the 1999 Jefferson nickel, a normal circulated coin may only be worth a few cents. But when you start moving into mint state, proof-like surfaces, full steps on Monticello, or extremely rare error strikes, the price can skyrocket. In fact, certain examples of the 1999 nickel have achieved near-perfect condition, showing incredible luster and strong strikes, and those are the coins that become million-dollar treasures. The history of nickels from the late 20th century is interesting because many were struck in huge numbers, yet only a tiny fraction survive in flawless condition. Most nickels leave the mint, enter circulation, and get worn down quickly due to the softness of the metal. The Jefferson nickel is made of a copper-nickel alloy, which easily shows scratches, bag marks, and wear. That is why a coin from 1999, still looking as if it were freshly struck yesterday, is considered a miraculous survivor. Collectors know just how rare that is, and the demand pushes the value higher and higher. What makes the 1999 P. Jefferson Nickels so valuable in the top tier is a combination of rarity, grade, and collector demand. The most valuable specimens are those graded with full steps on Monticello, meaning every single step on Jefferson's home can be seen clearly without wear or weakness. That full steps designation is extremely rare for nickels of this period. When such a coin appears at auction, collectors bid fiercely to own it. That competition is what has driven one rare 1999 P. Jefferson nickel to achieve a market value of up to $4 million, making it one of the most valuable modern nickels ever recorded. Imagine holding in your hand a coin most people would toss into a change jar or spend without a second thought. Yet for a trained eye, that same coin could represent a fortune. This is why coin collecting is not just a hobby, but a treasure hunt. Every time you check your pocket change, every time you look at those coins sitting in an old drawer or piggy bank, you could be staring at something worth a life-changing amount of money. The fascinating thing about the Jefferson Nickels series is that while it may seem ordinary, there are countless varieties, double dies, minting errors, and full-step rarities that command astonishing prices. The 1999 P. Jefferson Nickels stands out not because of a major design change or historical event, but because of how incredibly scarce it is in ultra-high-grade condition. This proves that even coins from the modern era can reach legendary status among collectors. So if you have a 1999 Jefferson nickel, especially one with the P mint mark from Philadelphia, take a close look. Check the steps on Monticello, check for proof-like shine, and if it looks pristine, it may be worth sending to a grading service. You never know, it could be the next $1 million coin. To summarize, the Jefferson nickel began in 1938 with Felix Schlag's design of Jefferson and Monticello. By 1999, the P mint struck millions of nickels, but only a handful survived in rare, flawless condition. Those coins, especially with full steps, can be valued at an incredible $4 million in the current market. What started as just a simple 5-cent coin has turned into a collector's dream and one of the most valuable nickels of all time. That is the magic of coin collecting. A coin with a face value of 5 cents can be worth millions, simply because of rarity, condition, and history. Always check your change, always examine coins from every year, because hidden treasures are out there waiting to be discovered. We are going to dive deep into the Jefferson 5-cent nickel coin minted in the year 2007 at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin might look ordinary to many collectors and everyday people, but believe it or not, there are some rare and unique examples of this 2007 P nickel that have shocked the coin collecting world, with values soaring all the way up to an incredible $3 million in the current market. So sit back, relax, and let's take a journey through history, design, and value to see what makes this coin so special. The Jefferson nickel has a long and proud history in the United States. First introduced in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel and became one of the most widely used coins in circulation. The coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and one of the most important founding fathers of the nation. His image has remained on the nickel for decades, making this coin not only a monetary instrument but also a historical symbol of American democracy. By 2007, the Jefferson nickel had already seen many design changes, including the Westward Journey series earlier in the 2000s. But in 2006, the Mint introduced a new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson designed by Jamie Franke, and that design carried into 2007. On the obverse of the 2007 P nickel you will see a bold image of Jefferson facing forward, looking straight at the holder, with the word Liberty written in Jefferson's own handwriting and the motto "In God We Trust" surrounding his image. The reverse shows Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home, with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. The 2007 P nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and millions were produced for circulation. Because of the high mintage, most of these coins are common and only worth face value, 5 cents. However, coin collecting is full of surprises, and certain coins stand out due to errors, high-grade quality, and unique varieties. This is where the story gets exciting. In the world of numismatics, condition and rarity mean everything. While a circulated 2007 P nickel might just be worth 5 cents, a coin graded in perfect mint state condition with a high strike and flawless surfaces can command impressive prices at auction. Collectors are willing to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars for the best examples, but beyond condition, there are also error coins and rare varieties of the 2007 nickel that have pushed its value to unbelievable heights. Some examples have been discovered with double die obverse, misaligned strikes, off-center strikes, and even dramatic minting mistakes that make them one-of-a-kind pieces. These rare nickels are highly sought after because they are not only scarce but also fascinating pieces of history showing the imperfections of the minting process. Now let's talk about the extraordinary case of the 2007 Jefferson nickel that stunned collectors by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $3 million. This coin was not an ordinary strike. It was a mint error so rare and unique that experts believe only one or two exist in such a condition. It combined a spectacular error with pristine mint state quality, making it essentially priceless to top collectors. Auction houses described it as a once-in-a-lifetime find, and when it went under the hammer, fierce bidding wars drove the price into the millions. This proves that even modern coins like the 2007 nickel, which most people overlook, can become treasures worth more than luxury homes, cars, and even gold. So what does this mean for you? It means that checking your change carefully is always worth it. If you find a 2007 nickel, do not assume it is worthless. Take a closer look. Does it have a sharp strike and clean surfaces? Could it be in uncirculated or mint state condition? Are there any unusual doubling or striking errors visible under magnification? If so, you may be holding a coin that is worth far more than its face value. Even if it is not the multi-million-dollar rarity, some of these coins have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars, which is still an amazing return on a 5-cent coin. Collectors love Jefferson Nickels because they are affordable to collect, full of history, and still turn up in circulation today. The 2007 nickel is an excellent example of how a common coin can sometimes hide uncommon value. The world of numismatics rewards knowledge, patience, and attention to detail, and every year new discoveries are made when people take the time to study their coins. In conclusion, the Jefferson 2007 5-cent nickel coin is a piece of American history that usually spends its life unnoticed in pockets and cash registers, but under the right circumstances, it can become a multi-million-dollar rarity. Its historical design honoring Thomas Jefferson, its connection to American culture, and its surprising potential for incredible value make it a coin worth studying and collecting. The current market has shown us that the rarest example of this coin has reached an unbelievable $3 million, cementing its place in modern coin collecting history. We are diving deep into one of the most interesting coins in modern American history, the Jefferson 2011 5-cent nickel coin. At first glance this may look like an ordinary nickel that you could find in your pocket change, but the truth is that some special examples of this coin have shocked collectors by selling for unbelievable amounts of money, including a rare piece that has reached a current market value of up to $2 million. So let's start with the history of the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has been one of the most widely used coins in circulation ever since. On the obverse or the front side of the coin you will see the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His face has been a symbol of liberty and American democracy. For generations the reverse of the coin proudly features Jefferson's home Monticello, which has remained the central design element throughout most of the Jefferson Nickels series. Now let's focus on the year 2011. In 2011 the Denver Mint produced millions of Jefferson Nickels with the D Mint mark placed on the obverse. These coins were made out of the standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams and with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. They were struck for everyday circulation, meaning most of them entered pockets, cash registers and banks across the country. However, not all coins struck in 2011 were created equally. While most carry an ordinary face value of just 5 cents, there are rare varieties, error coins and high-grade examples that can turn this simple nickel into a fortune. One of the most important things collectors look at is condition. A 2011 D Jefferson nickel found in circulation with scratches or wear might only be worth face value or a few cents more, but if you happen to come across one in mint state condition with no wear, no Marks and with sharp details. It can be worth far more. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC in grades MS65, MS66 or higher are especially valuable because the rarity of finding such a pristine coin makes them highly collectible. But what about those rare coins that reach astronomical values? This is where the story of the $2 million Jefferson nickel comes in. There are certain error nickels from 2011 that have stunned the coin world. For example, off-center strikes, double die obverse and reverse errors, and full steps designations on the Monticello steps can command incredible prices when the steps of Monticello are completely struck and show 5 or 6 full steps without any weakness. Collectors pay thousands of dollars just for that rarity. In the case of the famous $1 million coin from 2011, it was a combination of both perfection in strike full steps and a dramatic mint error that made it truly one of a kind. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was minted for only 5 cents, yet through the passage of time and the eyes of collectors has become worth $2 million. That is the magic of numismatics and why people all over the world search their pocket change every day hoping to stumble upon hidden treasures. Now let's talk about the current market value. While the average 2011 D nickel in circulation is worth only 5 cents, higher graded pieces can be worth anywhere from $1 to several $100s depending on condition. Rare error coins can jump into the thousands, and of course the top unique piece has been valued as high as $2 million, making it one of the most valuable modern nickels ever known. This proves that even coins minted in recent years are worth carefully examining, because you never know when a rare variety might be sitting right in your change jar. So if you have a Jefferson 2011 D nickel at home, check it carefully. Look at the obverse and reverse under magnification. Pay close attention to Jefferson's portrait to see if there are doubling features. Check Monticello for the full steps designation. Inspect the rim for off-center strikes, planchet errors or misalignments. If you find one in perfect condition, it is worth getting it graded by a professional service, because it could turn out to be a hidden gem. Collectors and treasure hunters know that every coin tells a story, and the 2011 D nickel is no different. From its roots in American history with Thomas Jefferson to its modern circulation today, this coin continues to be both a piece of everyday commerce and a potential jackpot waiting to be discovered. So to wrap this up, the Jefferson 2011 D 5-cent nickel coin may look like just another nickel, but in reality it is a symbol of how ordinary things can sometimes hold extraordinary value. The rarest examples of this coin are worth millions, and the current record value has touched an incredible $2 million, making it a coin that collectors will talk about for decades to come. Today we are diving deep into the story and the fascinating details of the Jefferson 2015 D 5-cent nickel coin. This is not just an ordinary nickel, it is a coin with history, design and hidden potential value that makes it stand out from the millions of nickels minted every year. At first glance you might think a 2015 nickel is too new to be worth anything, but coin collectors know that even modern coins can carry rare errors, varieties or unique minting characteristics that can make them worth thousands or even millions of dollars in the collector's market. The Jefferson Nickels series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The original design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, featuring a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia home Monticello on the reverse. For decades the design stayed almost the same, but in 2004 and 2005 the U.S. Mint issued special Westward Journey nickels to honor the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Then in 2006 the design was permanently updated to what we know today, featuring the forward-facing Jefferson portrait designed by Jamie Franke on the obverse while still retaining Monticello on the reverse. By the time we arrive at the 2015 D Jefferson nickel, we have a coin minted in Denver with updated modern technology, yet still holding the proud tradition of American coinage. In 2015 over 1 billion nickels were struck across the Denver and Philadelphia mints, making them common in circulation. However, the value of coins does not depend only on how many were made, it depends on condition, rarity and especially errors or varieties that slip through the minting process. The 2015 D Jefferson nickel in average circulated condition is worth just its face value of 5 cents, but collectors are always searching for pristine examples, high-grade coins and mint errors. In fact, some rare nickels graded at the highest levels by PCGS or NGC can reach incredible auction results. Collectors pay premiums for coins graded mint state 67, mint state 68 or even higher, because the quality of the strike, the luster and the lack of marks on the surface make them extremely scarce among billions of coins struck. Now here is where it gets interesting. Rare 2015 D nickels with unusual errors have been reported, including double die obverse, doubled lettering, die clashes off center, Strikes and full steps on Monticello, which refers to the complete visibility of the steps at the base of the Monticello building. This is one of the most sought-after designations in Jefferson Nickels. When you have a 2015 Jefferson Nickel with full steps in perfect condition, it can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars in auctions, but the excitement does not stop there. Some unique era nickels have brought staggering amounts in the collector market. A truly one-of-a-kind example of a 2015 Jefferson Nickel with a dramatic minting mistake recently gained the attention of top collectors, and its estimated market value has reached up to $1 million. This is due to the fact that error coins are like fingerprints. No two are exactly the same. When such a coin surfaces, collectors go into bidding wars trying to own a piece of numismatic history. Think about it, a coin that most people would overlook in their pocket change could turn out to be worth more than a house. That is why hobbyists and collectors alike carefully check every modern nickel they come across, even 2015 nickels. Because you never know what might appear if you discover a nickel with an off-center strike, a die break, a missing clad layer, or doubled features under magnification. You could be holding a small fortune. When looking at the 2015 Jefferson nickel, condition is everything. A coin that is scratched, dented, or heavily circulated will not bring in more than face value, but a coin preserved from day one in a mint roll or proof-like condition can stand out among the rest. This is why grading services exist to authenticate and grade coins, giving collectors confidence in what they buy and sell. The highest auction prices always go to coins that are certified at the top of the grading scale. So how can you find a valuable 2015 Jefferson nickel? The best places to look are in rolls of nickels from the bank, uncirculated mint sets, or even in pocket change. Check every coin under a good light and magnifier, and pay attention to the Monticello steps and the letters for signs of doubling or striking issues. Collectors today are constantly discovering new varieties, and if you are the first to identify one, it could be published and recognized.